Chapter 5 of Copper Harvest by a Self-Made Man. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Chapter 5 Within an Inch of His Life. "Otis Clymer, what are you doing here at this hour of the morning?" exclaimed Jack, holding a strong grip on the struggling clerk. "None of your business. Let me go," gritted the villain, using every effort to free himself. Then Jack caught a glimpse of the spreading fire through the half-open surgery door, and the sight clearly startled him. "You rascal!" he shouted. "You set fire to the store!" Clymer, fairly frantic at the idea that he had been caught in the act of not only destroying the doctor's establishment, but also a human life, struck the boy a heavy blow in the face. Half stunned, Jack partially released his hold on Clymer, and the villain, taking advantage of that fact, wrenched himself free, tripped the lad up, and rushed out of the garden into the street and disappeared. Jack, however, pulled himself together in a moment, and seeing that Clymer was beyond his reach, he banged open the surgery door and rushed inside that he might ascertain the extent of the danger. The glare of the fire showed him the ghastly countenance of Gideon Prawl turned toward the ceiling. Wake up, Prawl! The place is on fire!" cried Jack, seizing the man from the west and shaking him roughly. But Prawl never made a move of his own accord, but lay like a log in the boy's grasp. "What's the matter with you? Wake up!" Jack grabbed him with both hands and pulled him up into a sitting posture. Prawl's head rolled over onto his shoulder like that of a dead man. "In heaven's name, what could be the matter with the man? He looks like death. Has he had another fit?" It may be easy to ask questions even in a moment of intense excitement, but it certainly is not so easy to find an answer to them when the object to whom they are addressed turns a deaf ear to our importunities. "This is terrible!" exclaimed the boy, the perspiration oozing out on his forehead. "I must drag him out of here." Gideon Prawl hung a dead weight in his arms, but Jack was strong enough to handle him easily enough. He laid him down in the damp grass a short distance from the surgery, and then started in to put out the fast-increasing flames. There was a water butt at one corner of the building, and somebody, probably Meyer, had left a horse bucket beside it that afternoon. Jack seized the bucket, pushed the cover off the barrel, and filling the implement with rainwater, rushed into the blazing surgery and dashed the water upon the flames. This he repeated as fast as he could traverse the short space between the barrel and the room. Fearing he might not be able single-handed to subdue the flames, he yelled, "Fire!" lustily each time he came out. Both Dr. Fox and his son, who were sleeping soundly, heard the shouts at the same moment, and both sprang out of their beds and rushed to a window to look out. Charlie missed his chum at once, for the pair had occupied the same bed, and for an instant he wondered where he had gone. "Fire!" came up Jack's voice again. "Good gracious!" exclaimed Charlie. "That surely is his voice!" And he threw up his window, which faced almost directly on the surgery. At the same moment he heard the window in the front room go up with a bang, and his father's voice exclaim, "Hello! What's wrong?" For the moment there was no answer, as Jack had just taken another bucket of water inside, but he presently reappeared with an empty bucket swinging in his hand. He presented a strange sight to Charlie, for his hair was disheveled, he was attired only in his trousers, undershirt, and boots, and his face was flushed from exertion and excitement. "Hello, Jack!" exclaimed the doctor's son. "What the mischief is wrong?" "The surgery's on fire," replied Jack hurriedly. "On fire!" ejaculated Charlie aghast. "Great Scott! Come down here and lend me a hand. I think I've got it under control." Thus speaking, he vanished into the building again with another pail of water. Dr. Fox had caught enough of this brief colloquy to understand that something was out of joint at the store, and naturally he hastened to get into a portion of his clothes and rushed to the scene of the action, where he arrived almost as soon as his son. The flames had obtained some headway before Jack Howard had got busy in an effort to subdue them, but his exertions had been well directed, and he had managed to keep them from spreading to the shop. "Get another bucket or something, Charlie," he shouted as soon as he perceived his chum dashing out from the side door. There should have been a bucket beside the well in the yard near the barn, but as it was not there now, it was probable it was the one in Jack's hands misplaced by the German boy. To get another, Charlie had to get into the stable, or barn as the building was called, and it was always kept locked at night, the key being in charge of Meyer, who slept in a loft or attic. The doctor's son had to wake up the Dutch boy, who was a heavy sleeper, by pounding like mad on the side door which opened onto the stairs. He had to make noise enough to awaken 7 sleepers before one of the small windows in the loft was opened and Meyer's big head appeared. "What you wants down there, anyways? What you looking for? The doctor? Or go by your business around and woke up the right party." "Wake up, you thick-headed fool!" cried Charlie, quite out of patience. "Why, you don't mean you, Charlie!" exclaimed Meyer in an astonished voice. "Will you throw down the key for the barn? What you wants with me key to the barns? Do you want me to come up and fire you out of the window? Throw down the key, do you hear?" "I hear, Pedro." "Well, wait a moment, and I will throw it down." Charlie waited for it in a fever of impatience. "Now get into your clothes and come down yourself as quick as you can," he cried to the boy when the key flopped at his feet. "Jiminy Christmas!" grumbled the German lad as he watched Charlie rush to the barn with the key. "This was a nice hour to woke a feller up, I don't think. If I stood it much longer, I'm a jackass." Dr. Fox, when he appeared on the scene, was amazed to find the unconscious form of Gideon Prawl lying stretched out like a dead man upon the grass. He passed him, however, to take a flying look into the surgery and see how serious matters were in that quarter. "You can't do any good here," said Jack. "Better look after Prawl. I'm sure something serious has happened to him. Charlie will be with me in a moment with another bucket, and the pair of us ought to be able to put this blaze out." Jack spoke encouragingly, for he saw that he already had the fire under control. So Dr. Fox returned to the stranger from the west, and his experienced nostrils immediately detected the fresh odor of chloroform. "Has the man committed suicide?" was his first thought. "No, he's not dead," he said to himself after he had put his ear down to the man's chest and listened with professional accuracy for indications of heartbeats. Dr. Fox being a small man, it was a physical impossibility for him to drag the big prospector up on his stoop out of the dampness. The best he could do was to drag him over to the gravel walk, and this required much effort on his part. Then he went into the cottage to get certain remedies to bring the man back to his senses. With Charlie's assistance, Jack finally subdued the flames inside of another 10 minutes, but a considerable amount of damage had been done to the surgery. "Gee, this is fierce," said Charlie as the 2 boys, having thrown their buckets aside, stood contemplating the ruin wrought by the fire. "Have you any idea how this occurred?" he added, turning to his chum. "Well, I think I have," replied Jack with a frown upon his handsome face. "The surgery was set on fire by Otis Clymer." "You don't mean that!" exclaimed young Fox, staring back in astonishment. "Well, I don't mean anything else," Jack replied stoutly. "Tell me what ground you have for thinking so. This is a serious charge to bring against that fellow. It'll lead to his immediate arrest and prosecution. If sustained, he will surely be sent to state prison for a good many years, for arson is a crime severely dealt with." "He's not merely guilty of attempted arson, Charlie," said Jack with a serious face, "but the scoundrel actually left Gideon Prawl to perish in the flames." End of chapter 5.